Hi folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So we're carrying on with our series of what the hell is Zug using, and we're on the Veteran today. So this is a build I always sort of go back to when I'm playing the Veteran, just because it's incredibly easy and very, very effective. And while I'm live streaming and stuff, I do like a build I don't have to absolutely micromanage. So let's go through and see what we're using. So first off, I'm going to give you two options for your melee weapon. So at the moment, I'm using the Assault Chainsword, the Cadia Mark 13G. And for the modifiers, we're using Damage, Finesse, Shredder, and Penetration, lol. And the dump stat is Mobility. And for your perks, with this weapon, we're taking Flak because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game, and Unarmored because this is what this weapon is built for. And I'll talk more about that in a second. And as for the blessings, we're taking Shred plus 4% critical chance on chained hit, stacks 5 times, and Wrath plus 40% cleave on hit, stacks 5 times. So this weapon is here for one thing, and that is to deal with hordes. That is all this weapon is for. It is there to shred through hordes and mixed hordes to make us some room so we can get back to using our ranged weapon, which is why we've got Flak and Unarmored on it, to get rid of those pesky hordes that are going to try and swarm us. And the Chainsword is just one of the best weapons to do that on the Veteran. Now, if you don't want to use that, which is perfectly fine, you can use the Dueling Sword, which is just absolutely ridiculously good. And for that, we're using Damage, Finesse, Cleave Damage, and Penetration, lol, as our modifiers, and our dump stat is Mobility. And with this, we're taking Flak Armored enemies and Unyielding. This is going to help us deal with those harder targets. And for the blessings, we're taking Thrust up to 20% strength based on the charge time of your heavy attack, stacks 3 times, and Uncanny Strikes. Plus 24% rending on weak spot hit for 3.5 seconds, stacks 5 times. Rending is basically just extra damage. It's a more complicated way of saying more damage. 1% rending equals about 1% damage. I mean, it does help with arm penetration, lol, and that sort of thing. But that's what it breaks down to. Now, this is going to help us more with dealing with heavier armor. But in this build, we're not lacking for options for that, because we're using the Recon lasgun. And as I said, this is a very lazy man's build. And with the Recon lasgun, you can just hose down crushers and bulwarks without much problem. As you can see, about half a clip has dealt with 3 Ogryns. And again, there isn't really anything in the game that is a problem for this gun, because of how we've built it and how it's blessed. So, don't feel like you need to take the Dueling Sword to deal with heavy armor, because you don't. This is all about personal preference. If you want to take it because it's fun and stupidly overpowered, please do. If you want to just monotonously chew through hordes without any problem, take the Chainsword. Both are very, very good options. And it's totally up to you, this one. So, the Recon lasgun. We're using the Akatran Mark 12, with damage, ammo, collateral, and stability being our main stats, and mobility being our dump. Now, for the perks, we're taking plus 25% damage to Flak Armored enemies, because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game. And for the other perk, there are a few different options. I've gone with just a flat crit buff to help with proccing a few of the talents, and of course proccing Infernus. But you can change this to either Maniac, which you don't really need, or Unyielding, which is quite useful. So crit on Unyielding as your second perk, totally up to you. Both are very good. Crit will give you slightly more mileage across the entire match, but Unyielding will help you deal with Ogryns and bosses more easily. So again, it's completely up to you which one you prefer there. As for the blessings, we're taking Dum Dum, plus 6% close range damage when repeated hits, stacks 5 times, and Infernus, plus 4 burn stacks on critical hit, to a maximum of 12 stacks. This is just going to help us weaken those heavier targets, and it also stacks up really well with crit and also with brittleness, which is what we're going to be taking later on in the tree. Now, for the Curios, we're taking 2 toughness Curios with extra toughness, max health, and damage resistance gunners, and 1 max health Curio with 5% toughness plus 30% toughness regeneration speed and damage resistance gunners. Now, the reason we're taking toughness regeneration speed, it's not for increasing the speed. It is for increasing the time it takes to actually start regenerating toughness. That is what we want. We don't care how fast we regen it when it starts. What we want is for it to start sooner. And that is what toughness regeneration speed also does. And the reason we're not taking we're taking all 3 toughness Curios on this is because of the insane diminishing returns. And the fact that at higher levels, your toughness will get shredded off of you. You know, you can try and avoid all damage, but it won't work. Even the best player will take some chip damage throughout a match. And with some more health to cushion that, it isn't so much of a problem if we have to take a few little hits here and there of chip damage. Of course, as a veteran, you don't want to be taking massive amounts of health damage because you will die. But this is just there to help cushion that, and also the diminishing returns from taking 3 is just insane at this point. So that's the gear. Let's take a look at the talents. So we're starting off with Close Order Drill, up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. Confirmed Kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or special enemy kill, and a further 20% toughness over 10 seconds. As you can see, this is already telling us you are hunting specials. You're not a horde clear, you're hunting everything else. And then down into a stamina boost, into a toughness boost, and then we're picking up the Crack Grenade. I know lots of people are going to be like, oh, that shredder frag grenades, it's so much, but I know it's good. Right? I know it's good. It puts bleeds on things, it staggers things. It's really good for weakening hordes and all that sort of thing. I'm taking the Crack Grenade. Sorry. If you want to take the Shredder Frag Grenade, go for it. It's completely up to you. I like the Crack Grenade. It's very good. Again, it's helping us do what we're already doing. We are destroying specials and monstrosities and all sorts of things. And especially with the Grandfather's Gift out at the moment, when you have to deal with about 20 Beasts of Nurgle in a match, this is just going to help us with that. And then we're taking the health boost here into covering fire. When you kill an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive plus 10% to all base damage for 3 seconds. Just a nice little team boost. Into fire team, plus 5% damage for you and your allies in coherency. Into toughness damage reduction. Into demolition stockpile, replenish 1 grenade every 60 seconds. Basically, so we don't have to run around finding grenades with the rest of the team. Into Voice of Command, replenish your toughness and stagger all enemies within 9 meters. Base cooldown is 30 seconds. Duty and Honor, Voice of Command now also provides you and your allies in coherency with plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness. So this is just going to help us farm back all that toughness when we eventually lose it. Into Suppression Boost, and now over here onto the right. We're taking the melee damage boost here. Into Reposicity, plus 5% crit chance for 8 seconds on successful dodge, stacks 5 times. Into Desperado, plus 10% melee critical hit chance and 25% melee finesse bonus. And then we're taking Duck and Dive, plus 30% stamina on avoiding range attacks by dodging, sprinting, or sliding. It's just going to allow us to dodge, sprint, and slide more. Into Stamina Regeneration Boost, which we don't really care about. Into Onslaught, the one thing we actually do care about over here. Continuous hits to a single target apply 2.5% brittleness for 5 seconds to the target, stacks 16 times. This is how we're able to shred Carapace and do so much damage to monstrosities. Onslaught. It's a ridiculously good talent. Now we're going to come over here onto the left for the range damage boost, into Precision Strikes for 30% weak spot damage, into Fully Loaded for 25% ammo, and of course Shock Trooper because we're using a las weapon. Critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. This is just going to help with overall ammo consumption. And of course Superiority Complex for 15% base damage to elite enemies. And now into the middle tree. For the Emperor, your combat ability gives you and your allies incoherency plus 10% melee base damage and 10% range base damage for 5 seconds. Then we're picking up Tactical Awareness, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. Again, it's saying go and kill those specials. Into Iron Will, one of the best talents in the tree, plus 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. Now we're going to be able to achieve that by basically spamming voice of command when things are getting sketchy. Into a toughness boost down here. Into Bring It Down, plus 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Again, the entire tree is directing you to where you want to be fighting, which is specials, elites, and monstrosities. And of course, Focus Target. Gain Focus Target every 2 seconds, stacks 5 times. Tagging an enemy applies the Focus Target stacks to them, causing them to take 4% additional damage for each stack. And resets your Focus Target stacks to 1. But it doesn't reset the Focus Target stacks on the enemy. So if you aren't at max stacks, you can just keep focusing them until you get them up to 5 stacks. It doesn't replace what you've already put on them. It just replaces yours. So this build is very, very simple. Tag the bad man. Shoot the bad man. And of course the crack grenade deals with those pesky, pesky bulwarks. Now, try to remember as well, you can use voice of command to stagger enemies into each other. And if you manage to do it properly, like I didn't do there, you can stagger Ogryns into a pile and kill many of them with one grenade. It does take a bit of practice though. And generally this build is just ridiculously powerful. Melee damage to deal with hordes. Make yourself space. And your Recon lasgun for everything else. Of course, remember you do a lot more damage if you are hitting things in the weak spot, because we are spec'd into that. As you can see, shreds them pretty goddamn quickly. Now, for the Recon lasgun, a lot of people ask me, why are you taking Infernus? Because it's actually really, really good. It helps bring down enemies a lot faster. Because of what we're doing, we're laying down so many hits on them so quickly with such a high crit chance that they are getting stacked up almost instantly. And along with the brittleness we're bringing with Onslaught, it just really does damage them nicely. So we're taking Infernus and Dum Dum. And also, a lot of the other talents aren't super great. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could dump out Infernus for Death Splitter. But you will find over an entire match, Infernus will give you more damage. But again, it's up to you. You guys don't have to follow these builds to the letter. They're not set in stone. If you want to customize them, go right ahead. I always encourage exploration with these builds, because not everything works for everyone. I just prefer Dum Dum and Infernus, but if you want to, you can try out Dum Dum and Death Splitter. Everything else is just a bit rubbish, to be honest. There you go. It's one of the veteran builds that I find myself playing constantly. It's ridiculously powerful, very easy to use. And the Recon lasgun is just good, clean fun. So, I hope you enjoy the build. If you do, please do like and subscribe. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy, and I'll see you later.